Now, what is the purpose of mitosis? I'm sorry, the purpose of meiosis? The purpose of meiosis is to make gametes. So now let's look at gametogenesis. That is the formation of gametes, all right? And so the first one is called spermatogenesis. And spermatogenesis is a formation of sperm in the testes by meiosis. So this is showing these tubes here that are found in the testes. Those tubes in the testes is what this is cut up through, and this is cut into that. All right, so we can see mitosis occurring in those tubes. All right, so spermatogenesis follows along meiosis pretty much the way I kind of talked about it. So we start off here with what is known as a primary spermatocyte. That will divide, going through, it's going to undergo meiosis 1, and we're going to get 2 secondary spermatocytes here. As you can see, a haploid number in each of those. These are going to undergo a second meiosis 2, and then we're going to get 4 spermatids, each of those being haploid. These are going to undergo a maturation process, and this is going to produce 4 sperm here. All right? So, as I said, so in that maturation process, those spermatids lose their cytoplasm and grow a flagellated tail. So, like I said, just exactly like what we talked about with meiosis already. All right? Now, the second one is oogenesis. So this is the formation of eggs in the ovaries. All right? And this is not going to follow meiosis exactly like what I talked about, because in the end of oogenesis, which is the formation of eggs in the ovaries, we're only going to have 1 gamete at the end of this. All right? So we're going to start off with this primary oocyte. It's going to undergo meiosis 1. It's going to produce a secondary oocyte and a polar body, what is known as a polar body. Each of these has 23 chromosomes. Now, if you notice the size difference on this, that secondary oocyte has most of the cytoplasm, and that's for the nourishment of the zygote, making the zygote. This, just degenerates. It's reabsorbed by the body, okay? Now, that secondary oocyte will start meiosis 2, but it won't complete meiosis 2. It will stop in the middle of metaphase. And from there, it can be ovulated, all right? So if it's ovulated, then, so an ovulation, the secondary oocyte is released from the ovary, all right? From here, it goes into the fallopian tube. So if we go back to this picture here, here's an ovary, there's a fallopian tube, right? So it goes into the fallopian tube. So here ovary, here's ovulation, there it's in the fallopian tubes. And this is where fertilization will occur, is in the fallopian tubes. Let's go back to here. In order for that secondary oocyte to complete meiosis 2, a sperm cell needs to activate it to finish meiosis 2. So let's say that occurs, a sperm cell activates it and undergoes meiosis 2. We get a second polar body, which is once again discarded, and now we have an egg with 23 chromosomes. And since the sperm is there, those 23 chromosomes come together, and they're going to make that zygote in fertilization. Now, just to let you know, we go back to this picture here, right? So fertilization has to occur up here in the fallopian tubes, right? I'll just let you also know, sperm can live in those fallopian tubes for 5 to 7 days. And so this is what keeps Maury Povich in business, because if a woman has multiple partners around the 24-hour period of her ovulation, it could be any one of those guys' sperm. Once again, keeps Maury Povich in business. But it takes about a week for that, at this point, an embryo to get down here into the uterus. And once it gets into the uterus, it starts to implant into the uterus. And when it implants into the uterus, it starts to secrete a hormone called human chorionic gonadotropin, or HCG. HCG is what is detected in a pregnancy test.